Greetings, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to review the Humminguru ultrasonic record cleaning machine. I bought this directly from Humminguru. They gave me the industry price, which was half price of the list price, which I believe is around $377. I paid half of that with three caveats: that A, I review it for my channel, that I review it for Audiophile magazine, and I review it for analogplanet.com. And that's what I'm going to do starting with this review. I will say up front that I owned two record cleaning machines, ultrasonic record cleaning machines, before this. The first one was a DIY job with a big tank and a placeholder for 5 records, a pump, a filter, and that did a fantastic job, but it was extremely messy and it took a lot of space in my tiny apartment. Then I owned the Audiodesk glass cleaner machine, the Pro model, the German machine, which I also received on accommodation because I write for Audiophile and I use that in all my reviews. And that was a great machine until it wasn't, until one day it just died. The motor just died and the water would no longer rise. I still use the little nylon baggie to put over my machine from the Audiodesk system glass cleaner because it fits nicely, don't you think? But I found if you have an ultrasonic cleaner and it works, they all essentially do the same thing. You can get some with more bells and whistles like the degritter, where you can, I think, change the frequency of the cleaning. This is a 40 hertz machine, or you can probably extend the drying times or the wash times. You can do that with this machine as well. But my DIY machine worked as well as my Audiodesk machine works as well as this. But this is silent in comparison to either one of those machines. And I've had this for a couple months, and I have cleaned records every day on this machine, and it has worked perfectly without a glitch. It's a workhorse. And I also have to say that the manual for this machine, which I lost and then printed on my computer, is one of the best manuals I've ever seen. It is so detailed. This is a better manual than some manuals I received with multi-$1,000 components. You know, you can buy these incredibly beautiful sound machines from various audio companies and they work beautifully, but these guys don't know how to write manuals. Whoever wrote this manual, and this is a machine that I bought from Hong Kong, it's just an astounding manual. It's so incredibly detailed. The graphics are great. It's so informative. It's logical. You know, I've had manuals where the instructions were backwards. So kudos for this wonderful manual. What else can I tell you about it before we get up close? But it really, gets rid of that grayness. You don't know it's there, and because of that, you can hear deeper into the music, deeper into the sound stage. The instruments become more 3D, more physical, and it just brings much more of a 3D holographic image out of your recording. And they all do that, from the sloppy one that I had when I first made my own ultrasonic RCM to the Audiodesk to this. Now, some people claim the Audiodesk machine is not a real ultrasonic machine. I don't know. The thing worked tremendously, and it did exactly the same thing the other two machines did, which was remove that level of gray. So I don't know. There's pros and cons and all that. A friend of mine has this and a degritter. I have this, and if a record is really dirty and has fingerprints on it, this is not going to get rid of fingerprints. For that, you need a vacuum machine, such as my Project ALU, VCU, whatever it is machine. That it's a fantastic machine. But this will just remove that level of gray, and the records will literally look different after you clean them. They become blacker to a degree, and you can see there's a filter. I'll get into this in a second. There's a filter in the tank that you can see after multiple record plays becomes, specked with all these black pieces of vinyl, essentially. And you can, as you're cleaning, you have to constantly redistribute the water from this tank back into the well. So you're seeing the condition of the water every time for every cleaning. As with the Audiodesk, you couldn't see it and you're sort of going, who knows? Then you drain it out at the end. So before I get into the nuts and bolts of this thing, I can say right up front, it's a great machine. It's lightweight, but seems to be built very well. Here is the record cleaning machine. Take off the lid. You can see the well. It's not very clear down there, but you can see the circumference of the well. And panning over, we have, these are the rollers. They give you excess rollers. These are the filters, little spongy filters that go in the lid of the tank. You can already see, I've done many, many cleanings. You can see how dark it is. So it stops all the debris from going back in the water. Here's the tank, which goes in the bottom of the machine. And here's an unusual little tool that you can use to reinsert the wheels. And when you put this down into the machine, it also acts as a water gauge or a water level gauge. I don't use this very much. Coming around to the front, well, here's the side. Let me plug it in. Here's the side of the machine. So I'll turn it on. There's the power button. This is a manual button for drying time, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, power port. And here we have the main control panel. Right here is auto. Manual clean, manual dry. And you can adjust this to have 5 minutes of cleaning. The standard auto adjustment, I believe, is 2 minutes of record cleaning and 5 minutes of drying, but you can change that with manual clean and manual dry. So I filled up the water tank, and there are markers for 10-inch or 7-inch records, rather 12-inch or 7-inch. The water marker is same for 10-inch records, and they give you an adapter for 7-inch records. I have only cleaned 12-inch records in here, but you take this. Oh, first we have to pour in the water. And one thing I did find that I wasn't crazy about is if I just pour the water straight in, after repeated fillings, you get a lot of marks on this plastic. So I started using like a little napkin or something to rest this on as the water went into the well. You can see it drains very quickly. And then I just lift it up, insert it in there. It works beautifully. For shits and giggles, I'm going to clean the forthcoming Record Store Day release, another Zev Feldman treat, Yusef Lateef Atlantis Lullaby, which is one of the best of the forthcoming Record Store Day releases. Just a fantastic performance. So we drop that in there. There are little notches on each side where you insert the record, and I have it set for 2-minute cleaning and 5-minute dry. You see the light is already blinking. Just push that. You can hear it clicking off and the record spinning. Now I watched the Techno Moan review, and he said, "Oh, this is really, really noisy." I didn't think it was that noisy at all. In fact, I'm usually listening to music in the other room, and you barely hear this. It's pretty whisper quiet. And you can see it's immersing the record in water. Well, I don't know exactly. You can't see it. With the audio desk cleaner, it was much louder, and water was slooshing and gooshing, and you sort of knew when the ultrasonic was kicking in. But this is very quiet, and you can't really know. I do think that for the price of close to $400, this is a bargain. It works perfectly. As I said, I have cleaned hundreds of records on this thing since I received it. And they're beautifully dried. I've had no problems with the machine. And as I said, I do think you need a good vacuum machine, such as my project machine. which sells for about 600 bucks, I think. This is a fantastic machine, much quieter than the VPI I had overall. And the great thing is, first of all, the platter you put the record on is tiny, so when you flip the record over, you don't get the surface dirty again, and it goes in reverse. So you clean your record in both ways. And here's the applicator. But back to the Humminguru. So now the water is draining back into the tank. So it's done the deed of cavitating the record in the grooves. And see, it's all pretty quick. And as I said, I don't know exactly when the cavitation process is happening, but I assume since the record is no longer spinning, that it's happening during that process. And now the record is drying. No longer and no louder than when it was cleaning. I live in a pretty dry apartment, so after 5 minutes, this thing is super dry. Maybe if you live in a more humid environment, you would want to set it to 10 minutes. You can also set, using the manual clean, in conjunction with the auto clean, you can set it for, I believe, a 5-minute wash cycle, which I have not tried yet. Because as I said, I think with the vacuum machine, I'm getting the surface dirt and gunk and grunge off the record. And this is to do a final, ultra deep cleaning as far as exploding the little bubbles within the groove to give you a new record actually. But as I said, it will not clean things like smudges or fingerprints or heavy things like that. You want to do a vacuum machine clean or spin clean or whatever you might have to remove the basic gunk of a record. But you will hear the difference with this. As I said, it removes this level of gray, and it gives everything a lot more presence and focus. It may sound like hyperbole, but things become a little more 3D. The sound stage is a little deeper. You're essentially hearing more of what's on the record, which is what we all want at the end of the day. So the drying cycle is still going on. This is where I often work, right here, even though I'm moving my desk back into the bedroom, living room, whatever it is back there where I actually sleep. And I have a view of the West Village. But it's still going, it's dead quiet. As I said, I've been super happy with this machine. You can actually download the manual online to see how in depth this manual is. And they leave no function, no stone unturned as to figuring this thing out. But I just love this little machine. I would have liked a different color. White would have been nice. Maybe racing red or British metallic racing green. That would have been cool.